A rare moment of compromise between a Democratic governor and the Republican legislature in Wisconsin. As CBS 58's Emily Fannin and WisPolitics editor J.R. Ross discuss, the state's shared revenue bill is nearing the finish line.
It was a roller coaster in state politics, primarily because of the ups and downs of the shared revenue package. It was just a few days ago that Republican leaders threatened to strip out a very key important provision that would help Milwaukee avoid a looming crisis. And then the next day they came to an agreement. So this was after many weeks of a standoff and no updates on where this shared revenue package would go. So here's what we know is what's going to be in this bill. Every municipality would get at least a minimum 20% increase in state aid. And it would allow Milwaukee and Milwaukee County to raise their local sales tax instead of having voters approve that. So this is something that means a lot for Milwaukee, because without this portion of them able to raise more revenue through an increased sales tax, they were talking about drastic cuts to police, closing libraries, drastic cuts to fire departments. So this is a deal that has been, months in the making. And it's also rare that we saw all these parties and all these sides come together to finally get this done.
A long time ago, in a galaxy far away, that's how Capitol used to work in split government, where you got a piece of what you wanted and gave up a piece of what you didn't. Republicans, they are getting these priorities for Milwaukee of no property taxes for the streetcar, no property taxes for diversity, equity, inclusion, requires for school resource officers. They're giving up, though, allowing Milwaukee County and the city to do sales taxes through votes by the county board and the common council. Go back 3-4 years ago, Milwaukee was asking for a 1% sales tax increase through referendum. Republicans said no way we're going to do that. Now they're allowing that, not just that, but 0.4 for the county and 2 for the city. That's a huge deal. Evers is getting more money for local governments because the minimum goes from 15% for everybody but Milwaukee to 20%. Milwaukee's not included, but it gets the sales tax money, right? So it kind of gets that bump more than that. He's getting that, but he's giving up those restrictions on Milwaukee, right? He's giving up agreeing to DEI. He's agreeing to the restrictions of the streetcar. He's also agreeing to the education package and a huge increase for vouchers. He's giving up to get something. So everybody gets a little something, everybody gives up a little something.
Right, and this is a much broader package, like you mentioned, to see a bump in K-12 education. Evers is getting what he has long asked for, which Republicans agreed to $1 billion investment into public schools. But in return, Evers had to give a little bit on expanding the state's school choice program. Now, it wouldn't expand the program. What I mean by that, it would increase the dollar amount in per pupil aid. We also saw $30 million will be earmarked for school mental health services, $50 million geared towards improving reading scores, as Wisconsin is ranked one of the lowest in the nation among that. So it is, once again, a give and take approach. But specifically about these vouchers, they do, in a sense, will help the Milwaukee area because it would open more seats for private schools.
So, it depends on where you go, what the impact's going to be. You're not going to see schools being opened in the middle of nowhere in Wisconsin just because the vouchers are bigger. But for a place like Milwaukee with established program, Green Bay's, Racine's, areas that have kind of a need of a waiting list to get into schools, a school can say, okay, we are going to get more money per kid. It makes sense to expand, to take more kids, maybe to build a wing. Talking to school choice advocates, they will tell you that right now there are some schools we're kind of teetering because the voucher, as is right now, doesn't cover the full cost of educating a kid. They fundraise for it. This takes that pressure off, and again, creates that incentive to expand, which is why you would see more slots. In 25, 26, there's a final year of a cap of the percentage of kids in each district that go to a choice school. That goes away. Just because it goes away doesn't mean everybody in Wisconsin is going to go to a choice school or could go to. You have to have capacity to offer kids a chance to get there. This isn't, maybe it's going to be a universal school choice, but it adds more slots for those kids.
And we still don't know specifically the dollar amount for that. We know it's going to increase per pupil because the bill has yet to be drafted. That's still in the works, but we hopefully to know more this week ahead. Let's also look ahead, and now is the challenge for the city and county board to get this across the finish line. In the bill that we know it would have to require a 2/3 vote, but we know this is a tough vote regardless if it was going to go through referendum or the city and county board.
So I don't cover city politics. I keep my zone with the state. Talking to people in Madison, they're looking at it going, okay, when push comes to shove, yes, the county board and members of the common council said they don't like this, but they really vote no on this lifeline. In the course of negotiations, discussions, they went from a referendum to a unanimous vote by the boards to 3/4 to 2/3. Like, that's where it ended up. Look at 2/3 versus 3/4. For the county board, it's probably about a couple seats. That 2 seats could be very important if there's big resistance to this package. And again, in Madison, they're going, will they really vote no when the alternative is no sales tax money, draconian cuts, and reductions in services for city and county residents?
And possible bankruptcy. So it's going to be tough, but hopefully we get there in the end. All right, that will do it for this week's show. Thanks for joining us.